T2 minus T1. So that's what I'm doing. So in a way, I'm saying T2, which is what? 27. Here's 27 minus 13. I'm getting 1, 4. So here it will be 14. Again, I do the same thing, which is T3 minus what? Minus T2. So I'm saying here 45 minus 27. So if I subtract 45 minus 27, I'm going to get 18. I can move on to subtract even 67 minus 45. I'm getting 22. So if I do that, I will have here, as so it was 18 and this one was 22. So remember, we are subtracting the second from the first, or the next one from the previous one. So 27 minus 13, 45 minus 27, 67 minus 45. Okay, so when you have done that, what we're saying is you continue again to move on to the next level where you are subtracting 18 minus 14. So what do you get? If you say 18 minus 14, I get a 4. 22 minus 18, I also get a 4. Now what do you know, or what do you notice? We're saying this is the second difference, and then this one is the first difference. Hello once again, our most valued student. My name is Confident. Welcome to the continuation of the revision prep for grade 11, and we're looking at the November 2019 paper, and now I'm focusing on question 4. If you're joining us for the first time, and this is your first time also coming in contact with the 24-minute lesson, I will encourage you, go and subscribe right now and ensure the notification bell is turned on. This will enable or make sure that every time there's a new video, YouTube will send you a notification. And remember, this channel is made with you in mind. Don't forget to leave your comments. Also, if there's something you want me to cover, your comment can actually assist. Look at this question. As I said, this was November 2019 paper. I'm looking at question by question. So we have done question number 1. We have already done question number 2. So these are the questions that I've done. I went on to look at question number 3. It was a short video. Now let's look at question number 4. And as we previously briefly described in the previous lesson, to say this question number 4 focuses partly on the quadratic pattern. It says the following pattern is given. So let's look at this pattern here. Let me work it from here. So what are they giving? They're giving this pattern as 13. Then I've got 27. And then I just want space here, 45. And lastly, I have 67. So let's read this. It says the following pattern is given. 4.1.1. So let's start from the first one. What are they saying? Is this a quadratic number pattern? Justify your answer with relevant calculations. So it's 2 marks. They're asking, is this a quadratic number pattern? So what you do is, whenever they are checking your knowledge of quadratic patterns, what you need to do is to grow this pattern. For example, remember, what I have here is my T1 means term 1. This is my term 2. That's my term 3 and that is my term 4. So what do I have? I have to subtract T2 minus T1. So that's what I'm doing. So in a way, I'm saying T2, which is what? 27. Yes, 27 minus 13. I'm getting 1, 4. So here, it will be 14. Again, I do the same thing, which is T3 minus what? Minus T2. So I'm saying here 45 minus 27. So if I subtract 45 minus 27, I'm going to get 18. I can move on to subtract even 67 minus 45. I'm getting 22. So if I do that, I will have here, so it was 18 and this one was 22. So remember, we are subtracting the second from the first, or the next one from the previous one. So 27 minus 13, 45 minus 27, 67 minus 45. Okay, so when you have done that, what we're saying is you continue again to move on to the next level where you are subtracting 18 minus 14. So what do you get? If you say 18 minus 14, I get a 4. 22 minus 18, I also get a 4. Now what do you know, or what do you notice? We're saying this is the second difference, and then this one is the first difference. So now the question was, is this a quadratic pattern? Justify your answer with a relevant calculation. You are going to say this is a quadratic pattern. So I'm going to write this is a quadratic. It's quadratic pattern. That's the first part. Number one, that is 1 mark, just to tell us is this quadratic or not. Yes, it is a quadratic pattern. Number 2, what is the reason? So when they say justify, it has a constant second difference. Very important, not first difference. So the key part is it is a second difference, and you can see that it is constant, 4 and 4. So that is what makes it into a quadratic pattern. Okay, so the next question here is 4.2 says I need to what? Determine the general term Tn of the quadratic pattern. You need to be very familiar with this. So what do you do when you're given this pattern? You need to know that this number, what you have is 2a, and then in this line what you have is 3a plus b. You need to know that what you have in the first one is a plus b plus c. So in a way, it's not really the arrows. Actually, you're saying this is equal to, this is equal to, that is equal to. So you can come up now with the equation. I'm doing question number 4.1.2. So if I'm looking now at 4.1.2, right, so the first one you're going to say 2a is equal to, so you're looking at this line here. In a way, you're looking at that line. That's what you're looking at always. And then the first one is 2a is equal to 4. Then you divide. Remember, you need to remain with a. You divide by 2. So a is equal to 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. That's the first part. The second part, it says you've got 3a plus b is equal to that number there. So what we're saying, 3a plus b is equal to the number that you will get there, which is 14. But you know your a already is 2. So it's 3. So this grows from first find a will make you find b will make you find c. Are you seeing that? Is equal to 14. So 3 times 2, which is 6, plus b is equal to 14. And then you can actually find b now as 14 minus 6, and b is equal to, if you say 14 minus 6, I think you get 8. And that, just let me just confirm that with my calculator just to be sure. So 14 minus 6 equal to 8. Then lastly, I've got to find my C. As I said, what is C? A plus B plus C is equal to 13. So I have that to say A plus B plus C is equal to 13. Remember, my A is what? My A is 2. So I've got 2 plus B, which is 8, plus C, which is 13. Now 2 plus 8, which is 10, plus C is equal to 13. Now this 10 must join that part. What will I have? C is equal to 13 minus 10, and C is equal to what? 3. So I've got my A, my B, and my C. So the question was, determine the general term Tn. So you need to know how to write the general term. It's quadratic. And how do you write the quadratic? Quadratic is written as Tn. Alright, let me start from where it's coming from. Now the word quadratic means it's what? It's a x squared plus bx plus c. That's what quadratic means. It's a quadratic expression. So now when you're dealing now with the sequences, you are going to say Tn is equal to, it still maintain the same thing, it's a, but now instead of x, we are just saying n squared plus b, instead of x again is n plus c. Now we know our a, remember our a, our b, and our c. That's why we're doing it. Therefore Tn is equal to a, which is 2n squared, plus b, which is 8n, plus c, which is 3. So this is the general term. That's the answer there. Another one, a quick one that sometimes I encourage students to do. If you want, you can actually do this. Look at this. Look at this. I can take this pattern like this. I'm gonna use a different marker. Look, if I wanted to go backwards, I want to find T0 before T1. Remember, this is T1, so before T1 is T0. So now I can work backwards to say what was the number here and what is the number there. I think that. And then similarly, if I work backwards, so I need that number. So if this was, remember, from here to here, I'm subtracting 4. So it's 18 minus 4 to get 14. So if I come here again and say there is a 4 here that I must subtract, it's 14 minus 4. What will I get? I will get a 10 here. I think that. Now, if I continue and say, remember, I'm looking for that number there. If I say 27 minus 14, I'm getting a 13. 13 minus 10, I'm getting what? I'm getting 3. That T0 is equal to C. And that T0, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 3. That's another way of getting C. And we said C was what? C was 3. So you are able to first find A using 2A, find B using 3A plus B, and instead of going to A plus B plus C, you can work backwards to find T0 to get your C. It's up to you. Alright, but that was something I just wanted to bring across here to say you can literally use that. Alright, but now let's move on. Now 4.1.3, calculate the value of T100. The value of T100. So you come here to say, okay, you want me now to find T where there is N. You see there is 100. So it's 2 bracket 100 squared plus 8 bracket 100 plus 3. See how this thing goes. And then do the same thing now where your calculator comes handy to say 200 squared plus 8 100 plus 3, which is 20,803. 20,803. So that is that. So that is your T100. Then the next one says so this was that one. Now let's look at 4.1.4. It says the first difference between two consecutive terms of the quadratic number pattern is 110. Determine the value of these two terms. Says the first difference between the two consecutive terms of the quadratic number pattern is 110. The first difference. So now let's go and identify our first difference. So as you said, this is our first difference, 14, 18, 22. So let's have it here as a sequence. So we have got what? We have 14, 18, and 22. Now let's pretend this was a new pattern. So whereby you have this as your T1, this as your T2, this as your what? As your T3. So what are they saying here? They are saying the first difference between the consecutive terms of the quadratic pattern is 110. Determine the value of these two terms. So they are saying here, when you are growing this pattern, this one, the first difference, you shall come a point whereby when you continue here to t x, and consecutive means tx, and then the next one will be ty, for example. So when you continue, they are saying that first, whatever number here and whatever number here, that's what you want to find out. That particular first difference, when you subtract them, that one, it will be 110. You understand what they're saying? So they're saying the first difference between the consecutive terms. See, the first difference between two consecutive terms of the quadratic pattern is 110. Determine the value of these two terms. Then they want you to find tx and ty. So how will you work it out? First of all, so I wrote this as a new pattern, 14, 18, 22. So pretend it's a pattern, and then suppose you want to grow it up to what? You want to grow this up to 110. The question is, what is that tx? Or let me call it tn. We want that tn. But now what you do the same thing that we've been doing, whereby you are growing this to say I've got 4. This is now a linear pattern. I've got 4. So this is a linear pattern, and as I said, tn is equal to an plus b. And in a linear pattern, I told you that the first difference is equal to a. So you can move on to say tn is equal to what? 4n plus b. Then you choose any, either you choose t1 to say if I've got t1, where there is n, it will be 4 bracket 1 plus b. So you need to find b, but we know what is t1. T1 is 14. See that? So this 1 must give me 14. And then it's a matter of taking 4 times 1 is 4. Take it to join 14 there. It will give us b. So that we've got b is equal to 14 minus 4. So what is b? b is equal to 10. So which means here the general term of this pattern, this linear pattern, the general term here will be what? It will be tn is equal to 4n plus 10. Are you with me? Now we want to find what is that tn when it's 110. So we are saying if tn is equal to 110, what is n? So we've got 4n plus 10 is 110. That's where the trick was. And then after that, you have got 4n is equal to 110 minus 10, and 4n is equal to 100. So the next thing I need to find n. Divide by 4 on both sides, and n gives me 25. So it means when n is 25, here it means I can take this and say here T25. So T25 accordingly. But now let's go back. Remember this, we are going backwards. We're working backwards. Let's go back to say, okay, we saw that if we're going to T25, now how do you work out this? If you look at the pattern, if this was T1 and T2, this then became my T1, my T2 in the previous one, my T3. I'm using this new sequence that I did here. It was my T1, T2, T3. Now look at this, how this one is working. So in my T1, it was between T2 and T1. So 1, 2, T1, 2, 3, T2, T3, T4, T3. Now the question is, if this was T25, what would be this one? It would be T25 and T26. Why? You see, if it's T3, I've got T3 and then T4. T25, I've got T25 and T26. Are you seeing that? So here, if I can just be clear about this one, on this one, I will be having T25, T26. These will give me T25, like that. Now the question is, it's simpler now. The question was, find the two, determine the value of these two terms. Then it's a matter of going to find T25 and T26. What do? I go to my general equation here. This one, that's what I'm looking for. If I can duplicate this equation, that's the one that I'm looking for. Then I take this equation and in this equation is the one that I want to bring here. Just want to show you where this thing will lead. It's the one that I want to bring. I wanted to bring it here to say I know my Tn, so I want to find now T25 and T26. So T25 is equal to 2 25 squared plus 8 25 plus 3. Are you getting that? And then after that, I also get the answer now. What is T25? It will give me the answer to say 225 squared plus 8 25 plus 3. It's I'm getting 1453. And then also I've got T26 is equal to 2 26 squared plus 8 26 plus 3, and then it will give me now for 26. So I'll have 2 26 squared plus 8 26 plus 3. It's 1563. Right. Now the question was, let's go back here. They said the first difference between the two consecutive terms of the quadratic pattern is 110. Determine the value of these two terms. Then we can conclude now, just to test it. If we subtract these two terms, T26 minus T25. So what will I have? I will have 1563 minus 1453. I must get 110. There it is. So the two terms is, what is it? The two terms are 1453. So you can say T25 is equal to 1453 and T26 is equal to 1563. So these are the two answers there. All right, come back to the question. What is it saying? 4.1.5, show that all the terms of this quadratic number pattern will be odd numbers. So this pattern, they're saying show that it will be odd numbers. So let's look at this pattern again. Let me take it aside. Look at this pattern. If I can duplicate this thing again, just to take it away here, to say why is it that it will give odd numbers. Look at this. If you look at this pattern here, let me take that off. Look, you can see that this pattern, any number that you multiply by 2 becomes an even number. So you can see that whatever we multiply, this will be actually I can focus on this part, this one. I can factorize 2 here. It will be 2n squared plus 4n plus 3. So you can see that 2n squared plus 4n will always, any number that you multiply by 2 is always even, because you're saying 2 times that will always bring, or will always give, even numbers, right? Now look at that plus 3. Then you can say an even number plus an odd number. What is the odd number? 3 is an odd number. An even number plus an odd number gives an odd number, right? An even number and an odd number. So you are adding, this will be even in a way. Let me just write this. This will all be even. So it's like we're saying even number plus odd number is equal to what? Is equal to odd number, because 3 will always be what? Will always is an odd number. So an even number plus an odd number gives an odd number. Therefore, the pattern will give odd numbers. That's the main part. This pattern will always give odd numbers. Alright, for all values of n. For all values of n. Alright, whatever case. But they were trying to just to say, are you able to pick that one there? Okay, so that was that. Let's look at this 4.2. I think that's the last one. It says 4xy minus 11 are the first four terms of a quadratic pattern. So let's do that. Let me do it this side this time. 4. So what do I have? I have got 4, and then I have got x, and then I have got y, and then I have got minus 11. So if I take these away like this, that will be fine. So they are saying these are the first four terms of a quadratic pattern. So whenever I'm given this, the first thing you need to do is to remind yourself, this is my T1, this is my T2, this is my T3, and this is my T4, and it's a quadratic. Remember, it will grow twice going down. Then they are saying 2p minus 4, p minus 3, p over 2 minus 1 are the first differences of the same quadratic number pattern. So if I do this and say when I subtract, and when I subtract, you see there are 3. So they are saying if I say T2 minus T1, I'm going to get what? 2p minus 4. So here, if I say, they are saying that's the answer that I got here. If you subtract T2, if you subtract these two, it's more like you're saying x minus 4. You get 2p minus what? It's 2p minus 4. That's the first one. And the second one, it's p minus 3. Are you seeing that? And the other one, because they are following each other, p over 2 minus 1. So it's p over 2 minus 1. That's why they're saying they are the first three differences of the same quadratic pattern. Calculate the values of p, x, and y. This is 5 marks. So look at this. Remember, this is a quadratic pattern. So what you do is you continue growing it to say from here, remember, this is one thing. This is like one thing. This is one thing. And that is one number. Pretend is one number. So when you grow it, you've got that one, whereby you are saying this one minus that. So we are also doing that. To say p3, p minus 3 in bracket there, minus 2p minus 4. It's that minus that. It's following that. And then you repeat again the same thing on the second one. You are saying that one, which is p over 2 minus 1. So we are subtracting that minus that. Put it in bracket, minus p minus 3. Now, if I show you the previous quadratic pattern, this one, remember when we went for the second difference, that number was consistent. Look at this. We got 4, 4, meaning on the second difference, 4 is equal to 4. They will always be equal. 4 is equal to 4. So the second differences are constant, meaning they're equal. So even here, I can come back and say this one is equal to this one. Are you seeing that? That's the key thing there that they wanted to bring first things. So we are going to say p minus 3 minus 2p minus 4 is equal to p over 2 minus 1 minus p minus 3. What is important is this negative there and that negative there. Be careful. Now you need to open it up. Remember, the negative will interchange the signs. You distribute it there, which is p minus 3. Now it's minus 2p minus 4 minus 4 is plus 4. That's where the trick was, which is p over 2 minus 1. Again, distribute that negative. That's where they wanted to catch you. It's minus p minus 3 plus 3. That's where the trick was. If you could master that, you're fine. P minus 2p, collect like terms, p minus 2p, which is minus p, and the numbers minus 3 plus 4, which is plus 1, is equal to, same thing here, this is like half p minus p, which is negative p over 2. You can use a calculator. And then that one there, what do you have? Minus 1 plus 3, which is plus 2. Collect like terms, let p on the left and then the number on the right. Take p to the other side and this number go to the other side. So it's minus p plus p, it's half p, which is p over 2, is equal to 2 minus 1. Positive 1 becomes negative 1. So minus is more like minus 1 plus half is minus half p is equal to 2 minus 1, which is 1. So now what you need to do here is to divide by negative half, divide by negative half. So when you do that, check with the calculator, p is equal to negative 2, because negative half, this will go to the top, so it will become 2. Or you multiply by 2 over 1. Another thing, instead of dividing, multiply. So p is equal to that. Or let's test with the calculator just to avoid some errors here. So I said it's 1 over negative 1 over 2. Negative 1 over 2, it's negative 2, so it's fine. Then from here, what do? What does the question? The question calculates p, x, and y. I've got p, which is good. Then I can work my way back now. Look at this. Let's go back here. This is the better sequence. Look at this. If I said 13 plus 14, so 13 plus 14, I got 27. And then 27 plus 18, I got 45. Then 45 plus 22, I got 67. So it's the same thing that I'm going to be doing here. If I can now put my p here, I can now say here, what was, let me use a different, what is 2p minus 4, which is 2, remember p is negative 2, there, that's all, 2, negative 2 minus 4, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, which is negative 8, and then the other one, that was p minus 4, what about p minus 3? Which is negative 2 minus 3, which is equal to negative 5. And the other one was p over 2 minus 1. So if I say p over 2 minus 1, which is negative 2 over 2 minus 1, which is that negative 1, which is negative 2. Look at the number, minus 8, minus 5, minus 2. So I can come here and say here and here and there. I now have the numbers. It's minus 8, minus 5, minus 2. Even if you subtract this, minus 5 minus 8. So it's minus 5 plus 8. It gives you a 3. Minus 2 minus 5. If you do that, you get 3. But don't worry with that. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in this number. I said, how do you go about it? If you say 4 plus minus 8 equal to 4 plus minus 8 is minus 4. So 4 plus minus 8, you get here to become, that x become minus 4. You add this plus that to get that. Similar thing, minus 4, which is minus 4, plus minus 5, which is equal to negative 9. So y is equal to negative 9. So they say find x. Find what? P, x, and y. So p is that x is minus 4, y is minus 9. So you can write there to say x is equal to minus 4, y is equal to negative 9. From the what? From that. It's up to you guys, but that's how you could have done that. How many marks? 20 marks. Not really bad, but it's patterns and it gives you some kind of chance for you to get some few marks. I understand the 4.2 was a bit tricky and 4.1.4, but you need to be strong enough to pick what the examiner is trying to trick you on. Look guys, we've come to the end of our lesson. Remember to subscribe and ensure that the notification bell is turned on so that you'll be notified when I post a new video. And which one is that video? It will be the video of this next lesson. It's on graphs, so you need to stay tuned. When you see a video coming, make sure that you tune in or you subscribe and the notification bell will be turned on, remember, so that you can now do question number 5. We've come to the end of our lesson. Thank you.